But
yeah,
in reality, he's trash. He get beat, and then he not grabbing the boards like he used to.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Melo's the role he didn't want in Oklahoma.
Carmelo Anthony drills it straight away.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, episode 86. Who are we? Control the Narrative is a podcast that controls the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that shit. And if you're a returner, a subscriber, or better yet, a Control the Narrative member, we appreciate you as always. You know who you are. In the Discord, going crazy after Melo's putting up 28 points. And we'll get into that shit. But the Discord was lit. If you aren't a member, go become one today. With all that being said, we have another special guest on the episode tonight, 86 episode. We got my guy Kev, who pulled up to the Times Square billboard unveiling, announcement, whatever you want to call it. And we chopped it up for like a few hours after that and shit like that. So Kev, welcome to the show, my guy.
Fact. What's up, family? What's going on? Y'all know it's Melo tape all day. Y'all know why we here.
Dude, yeah, we were just chopping it up for like fucking, I think it was 2 hours, and first time we met and shit like that, so that was dope as hell. So we're gonna get into it a little bit. On the Lakers side, tonight, Kev, the Lakers are 3 games into the season, 1-2 so far. Leaving Melo out of it first, because we could talk about that shit for fucking 14 hours, and we'll get to the next question. What have you seen out of the Lakers in the first few games? Just like general observations, things you like, didn't like take it wherever you want with this question.
Shit, the things I didn't like is Westbrook trying to force everything, bro. I mean, like, this dude gives me a headache, man. I'm telling you, the first 2 games, the first game, I'm like, okay, maybe, it's first time jitters. You know what I'm saying? He trying to do too much, but I feel like when AD and LeBron and like the coaching say, we want Westbrook to be Westbrook, he feels like he has to play at 1,000 miles per hour. Like he can't slow the game down, which is surprising that, he's been in the league for so long and he still don't know how to just turn it down like a notch. Like you don't always have to be on 1,000. I feel like, well, number 2, him and Rondo cannot be on the floor at the same time. That's terrible. Like I don't know what Vogel's thinking or why he keep doing that, but no. I really
wait
love
real quick on that, Kev. Do you think it has to do with contracts? Because that's something that, like, obviously not that they're similar players, but neither is a great shooter. Even though Rondo's been hitting some shots, I'll give it to him. But do you think the reason that they keep playing them together is because they're paying Westbrook 40-something million, however they're paying him, and they're like, we have to put him in the game, but we also need Rondo in the game? Or like, what's your thought there?
Yeah, I feel like they're doing that because of the money, because he is a max player, and I feel like it'll just cause like a little friction if they just, like, imagine him coming off the bench, you know what I mean, like, and them playing Rondo more, but like more of the starting unit, opposed to with the second unit. So I feel like they want to play Bron and Westbrook at the same time, but they know, like, secretly they know it's not working, so they have to put Rondo in there for him to try to control the offense, like whether it's stretching, whatever the case may be, is running the floor or whatever. Because when Westbrook go running, it's like he turns it over because he try to do a quick pass or something like that. But
charges
when you on 1,000, you can't. He just got to slow his game down, man. And then sometimes him and AD, they be forcing the offense. I'm like, yo, y'all do not have to force it. Y'all have too much talent around. All y'all have to do is move the ball. AD's a threat himself. You don't need to force it, with the pick and roll each time. And AD has got to get closer to the basket. He has got to get in the paint, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing him doing some fadeaways at the 16. Like that just irks my nerves, especially when he got a little dude on him. Like, bro, you could take this little guy. This, like, come on, man.
It's like
you could take
this,
man. I don't understand that, bro. Like, you big, and plus you put on weight. this off season.
Yeah, he did.
Like, you've been in the gym, bro. You like show it. You've been in the gym. That's one. Those are the few things that I noticed. LeBron did get better with his 3-point shot.
So far, bro, I'm shocked at that.
So far, I'm shocked, bro. I'm really shocked, but I'm happy he did work on it. But what I'm noticing in terms of the usage rate, I'm noticing that LeBron is not touching the ball enough. He needs to run the point, not Westbrook. But it's almost like they have to let Westbrook do it. It's because if LeBron's running the ball, Westbrook can't cut. Like, he's not a shooter. So what else is he good for on the floor?
He's not effective off the ball, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not effective off the ball. So it's like, I feel like they forcing it like that. Like with him, like, okay, we have to give Russ the ball, because if not, he's just gonna be standing there. He's not a threat from mid-range. He's not a threat from 3-point. So those are the few things that I noticed that I feel like need to be tweaked. But I also love Monk when Monk and Melo is in that when they playing together. Like, I love that mixture. Yeah, I feel like Rondo, Monk, and Melo should be on the floor, and I feel like you could do Dwight and AD if you want, or you could do whether it's either Bazemore or AD. You know what I'm saying? But I like that thing, and I feel like if you got Rondo and Monk running down the same thing, and Monk could shoot, he cutting through the baseline. So now other people got to worry about it. So now you got to worry about Monk. And then you got to worry about Melo, whether if he's in the corner or he at the the left side of the key. So that opens up the floor more, especially if you got AD down there too in the paint. So AD setting the pick and Monk cutting. Now you got to choose. Do we help on Monk? Do we help on AD? Or do we help on Melo? You see what I'm saying? So I feel like that needs to be a lineup that they should try out.
Yeah. Good points.
Definitely.
I think some things that have kind of stood out to me. One of the things I was going to say is Malik Monk. All right, I'm really trying not to make this about Melo, but like Malik Monk and Melo's connection is just there. And again, we'll get into Melo. But another thing that I think I've kind of solved, it's 3 games. So obviously, there's fucking 79 games left, including tonight. We're recording this Tuesday night before.
Yeah, facts.
The Kings game, right? They're playing Sacramento tonight. Sorry, Spurs. The Spurs game.
Yeah, they're playing the Spurs. Yeah.
I think I don't know if this is breaking news, but they're gonna go as far as Anthony Davis takes them. Like, LeBron is shooting out of his mind from 3. I just looked it up. He's shooting 48% from 3 this year. To go along with 46% from the field. So like, I'm not expecting that shit to, because before this, his highest was 40% from 3, which is like very, very solid. And that was 2012, 2013 in Miami when he was shooting 3 again. So I think
and which was his best year, by the way.
Yeah. Melo's too. Maybe not. A lot of people forget about 13, 14. But bro, I just feel like Anthony Davis is just on another level. As long as he could stay healthy. LeBron and Russ, like the whole Russ situation it's just weird. Like, a lot of people are saying it. Ideally, he would come off the bench, but like, you can't pay somebody I don't know how much he's making, $43 million to come off the bench.
You can't.
So the situation's tough, and like LeBron, as much as I talk poorly about him, he's just going to be able to adapt to pretty much any situation. So I'm not even worried about him. The thing that I'm kind of worried about is just like, how does everybody fit around AD? LeBron, obviously they won a championship together. Melo and AD look really, really good together. Like, I feel like they have another connection like Melo and Monk.
Yeah, I like that.
But it's just Westbrook is like a liability on both ends of the court. And I'm just worried about it. And it's not something that like, it's just a guy who his shot is just not going down. Like, he's not a great defender. And just his style of play doesn't really fit this team. It doesn't really fit this team. So that's the one thing I'm worried about, where it's like, how can somebody who isn't effective off the ball, and it's something that as soon as Westbrook got traded to LA, I was like, that's it. I don't want Melo there. And of course, like, then Melo goes there. But It's just something I'm worried about because I don't know how they're gonna be able to make that work. And like LeBron handling the ball and like Westbrook setting picks is interesting because on the ball, I feel like when Westbrook is involved, he's a decent cutter. And there was this one play where they ran a pick and roll. LeBron had the ball and Westbrook picked. It was like a quick pick, and then he quickly cut. They not obviously, but they double team LeBron. LeBron threw it to Russ, and then Russ, there was two defenders, and then he's going to take it up. AD's going to be open for a dunk, or Melo's going to be open for a three. Obviously, that's not going to happen every fucking play, but if they can do something like that, I think
along those lines,
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know what play you're talking about. I like that. If you're doing the pick and roll with LeBron and Westbrook, because they know Westbrook could explode to the basket, so somebody has to either double LeBron because he been kind of hot from mid range. You know what I'm saying? He could get the shot off, but you also got to worry about Westbrook. So now when that other defender comes to either help Westbrook, you see one of the plays he tried to throw it to AD. But AD kind of fumbled the ball, or like Westbrook threw it too hard. But that was like a great play that they could really exploit, especially from the top of the key, or even if you're at the free throw line when you have a big man. But in terms of Westbrook fitting, I feel like Westbrook, he need like a run and gun team. Like when I think of Westbrook, like a team that he would kind of be good on is the Grizzlies, because they run and gun. They run up and down, and that's Westbrook game. That's his game.
Ja is a similar player, and look how he's playing.
Exactly, but he knows how to slow. You see how he patient with it, like he knows how to slow it down, take it a notch. Westbrook don't know how to do it, man. I'm telling you, but Ja is special. I give him that. Ja is special.
I wish I could find this, but I wonder how many charges Westbrook has this year, because I'm sure it's near the top of the league, bro. He's out of control, just putting his shoulder down. At the top of the league. It's wild. One other quick thing I wanted to point out was just the Lakers defense as a whole. They have good defenders. Like LeBron's obviously a good defender. Anthony Davis is obviously a good defender. Westbrook can be a good defender. He has like the athleticism. He has the size. Like there's no reason he can't be a great defender. I just feel like sometimes they don't really try. And at the end of the day, yes, some guys are quicker off the first step than another, but a lot of defense comes down to effort. So when I see LeBron guarding Mikal Bridges to start the second half, and Bridges just runs to the hoop and gets the pass and then dunks it, it's like, bro, little things like this. And I know they're a veteran team, and they're going to try to push the on button. They're just going to flip the switch later in the year or halfway through the year, whatever the case is. But it's just something that I'm like, is this the defensive team that they're going to be this year, where it's like lazy, just not trying hard, or is it just going to be like, all right, halfway through the year they're going to be like, all right, like we need to pick this shit up?
I feel like they don't want to expend too much energy, because especially like with LeBron, I feel like with LeBron is so ahead. He just like, yo, I done been to 9 straight finals, bro. Like I ain't about to put all my energies. Like I know we gonna make the playoffs. I really feel like that's how he be thinking, and you know what I'm saying, to a certain extent. I don't blame him. You see what I'm saying? I don't blame him. But you also got to take into account when you got a new team and you're supposedly the leader, you have to set that precedent so everybody will follow along, especially if you're the best player on the team. You have to set that precedent for everybody to be like, all right, so he playing defense, let's go. To take it back to when I would say that I think 2012, 13 was his best year, because he was locked down on defense. Like if you look at that Miami championship run, he was locked down. Like that's the best defense I ever seen him play. He was locked down, and I really feel like, and then that's why the Heat defense was what it was, because they seen LeBron and everybody. But also, like I feel like guys are still catching their wind. It's the beginning of the season. They had a lot of months off. I feel like they still kind of getting into basketball shape. But I feel like they'll be good. But I just don't like when they play DeAndre Jordan and AD. I don't like that, because you could pick them apart. If teams really wanted to, they could pick them apart with the pick and roll between DeAndre. All they have to do is bring him out to the top of the key. They're going to open up the floor. Like if you look at what Golden State did, they had him out up at the key every single time. They had him out. So I feel like I don't know why they don't play Dwight, I feel like they should play him more. I don't know why,
Agree.
because he could be stronger and he could bang with them, especially because I don't want AD at the 5 because he spends too much energy. Like, not all the time. Like, imagine him having the guard and Embiid. That's going to take a lot of energy from his offense. You see what I'm saying? So if you got a guy, if you playing him and Dwight, you could put AD at the 4, you know what I'm saying, and put Dwight and at the 5 so he could bang with them, you know, them tougher guys down there like a Jokic or like a, you know, Embiid, because that takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Especially from Embiid. Like, imagine they playing Embiid, you know what I'm saying? But if you're not playing like an elite center, then cool, AD. But when you come up with those matches, like, you gotta they could put, you know, a hurt on AD, you know, even though he got bigger. But Embiid and like Giannis, like, they're a different animal, bro. For real.
You said
So that's something else that concerns me. Mm-hmm.
You said you don't like seeing DeAndre Jordan on the floor with AD.
Yeah.
That's where you and I are different. I don't like seeing DeAndre Jordan on the floor with anybody, because he's fucking washed. Like, he's so washed. He is so washed.
I said the same thing. I was like, he's garbage. Like,
he's washed.
I said the same thing, but I'm like, all right, apparently they're going to have him in a rotation, so I have no choice but to accept it. But
yeah,
in reality, he's trash. He get beat, and then he not grabbing the boards like he used to. When I seen, I'm like, oh, DeAndre got that. And then the other team get it. And I'm like, damn, DeAndre. But if they really wanted to, if he having a good game, him on the pick and roll with catching a dunk, the alleys, like, that's what he best for. Like, they could be lethal with that. Like, they could be. And I also vision, like, if Westbrook, like, let's say Westbrook at the top of the key, and you got AD setting the pick on the right and DeAndre sitting on the left, and they go either way and both of them break off, you got to figure out who you're going to guard, whether it's Westbrook, DeAndre, or AD. Somebody going to get the alley. I would rather Westbrook not shoot, but somebody could get the alley, you know. And when I'm just drawing up plays in my head, like, well, maybe that could work. Just trying different things, you know. I'm like, all right, well, maybe. Because I would literally pause the game, and I would go over it. I'm like, well, what if this would happen like this? Like, I literally go through it like that. Because when it comes to a team that Melo on, I don't play, bro. I be trying to figure out everything.
Offensively, bro, they're going to be fine. Like, they're going to be fine offensively. They're going to figure their shit out. Even Westbrook's going to figure his shit out. You know, to Russ's credit, last thing, and then we'll get to Melo. Westbrook's adjusted the past few years. He's been able to play with Beal. He's been able to play with Harden. He's been able to kind of do different things over the past few years. And he's had to kind of reinvent himself a lot of different ways. Obviously, in Houston, all they do is threes or layups. Then in Washington, a whole different situation with Beal. So I feel like he'll figure his shit out. But let's get to Melo. Yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at Control the Narrative, and it's pretty fire, in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Blackball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, you know, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you. And back to the show. First two games, nothing crazy. The second game, I think he finished with 16,
16,
yeah, right?
16.
But the reason that I think you and I are both so hyped is he put up 28 points on 10 of 15 shooting and 6 of 8 from 3 in their last win, the first win against the Grizzlies this year. So that game, but also the 2 games before it. What have you seen out of Melo in these first few games?
Just his awareness on the defensive end. People always talk about Melo don't play defense, but I feel like they're not really watching the game, because if you look at how much things that he changed, like whether it was the first steal that he had, Like, or even like when they try to do the pick and roll on him and he up on him, he be making them guys pass sometimes to where they don't want to do it. Like his awareness on the defensive end and how he telling AD, like, look, go right there, go right here. Or he telling Monk, like, be right here because he coming around. But you can hear him screaming, like, that's you. He coming around. Like, he's yelling, like, and I know on certain, like, maybe when people watching on different TVs, like, certain cameras, like, catch, like, what the players is saying, like, just for a little bit. Like, I guess if they switch the input and output, but you hear him yelling, you know what I'm saying? Switching that. So, I that's what I'm paying more attention because I know what he could do on the offensive side. I know what he could do. I'm just looking for his awareness on the defensive side, and it's been good from what I've seen. What I don't like is that I feel like he don't want nobody to say anything. So it'd be like some possessions where he got a little dude on him, and I'm like, yo, Melo used to call for the ball, like, yo, give me that. Let me take this young man right here. Like, he can't, but he won't do it. He'll just step out to the sideline.
He's playing his role.
Corner three, and I hate that. Yeah, he playing his role, and I hate that because I'm like, yo, and even when he was important, I said if Melo gets 15 shots a game, y'all will win. Y'all will win more games than y'all winning if you give him that. And he'll even tell you himself he's a rhythm player. You know what I mean? So if you go 8 minutes without touching the ball, and that goes to coaching too, because it's like you got a primary scorer here and he's not touching the ball. What do you have him on the floor for? What's the point? He's not a defensive guy. That's not his repertoire. He's like, you just have him as a decoy when he could be scoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, even what's that? The game against Phoenix, no, it was a whole drought. Nobody was scoring. Melo came in. Right? He scored 2. Yeah, second half. Right. He scored 2 to 3 possessions. He didn't get the ball for another 7. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 7 to 8 minutes. He didn't touch the ball again. And I'm like, what? He's the only one that scores consecutive shots for you. And you just got, as a coach, you just let Westbrook just throw up shit over and over. Sometimes I just wish, like, he would just be like, all right, I'm in the post, let me get that. But I did love what LeBron did when it came down to crunch time. He gave it to Melo on the post. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't believe that.
If you know Melo, with the spot that he was, I couldn't believe it, bro. But if you know Melo, the spot that he was, he needed to be a little more like over to the right, because that's like his bread and butter right there. Like, but when it's like towards like the edge of the basket, like going towards like out of bounds, I would rather him be a little more to the right, so he could have a better view of it. You know what I'm saying? Even though he could knock down that shit from there, I'm just saying, like, he I don't think he expected him to give him the ball. That's why he was down there. Like, he didn't expect that, because if he did, he would have went in his main spot. He would have went in his main spot, bro. Yeah, he would have went in his main spot. But he like, all right, I got a couple seconds left. Let me back him down and I'm hot. Let me see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I feel like if you're gonna give it to him early. Like, let him work. You know what I'm saying? Let him go to work. Don't wait till it's like 7 seconds, 8 seconds, and then he gotta. You know what I'm saying? Like, let him work. But I did love that by LeBron, how he gave it to him, and thank God he didn't give it to Westbrook. Because you know Westbrook would have probably did a hook shot from the 3-point line or some shit. Like, for real, bro.
Yeah, I love that. Great points.
But in terms of what I see from Melo, that defensive awareness, definitely. Yeah.
And again, man, I can't even tell you how many times I've said this. None of us are ever sitting here saying Melo's a lockdown defender, Melo's a great defender. Nobody's ever saying that. All we're saying is that he's not a shitty one. That's all we're saying, and I know I say this every 2 fucking weeks, but when people come on and they say shit like that, and people are like, yo, like, what the fuck? They're talking about Melo like he's this lockdown defender. No, we're not. We're not saying that. All we're saying is he's a decent defender, and he's not as bad as everybody says. That's all we're saying.
And I always make the point. I'm like, tell me, other than I can name the players that play defense on my fingers. So it's 10 it's 10 people in the NBA out of 400 that you could actually say play defense. Everybody knows the three. Steph Curry changed the game. So the 3-pointers is what everybody's looking for. So don't nobody play defense like it was back in the day with Gary Payton. Nobody does that anymore. You know how many lockdown defenders you had back then compared to now? No, like it's not even comparable. So it's only about 10 guys that you could name that actually play defense. And if you look at the all defense, it's been the same ones, the same people every year, the same people every single year, the same top 10. So just in different orders, throughout the years, but it don't change. Like, James Harden not a lockdown defender. Nobody talks about that. He's a primary scorer. Like, if you're a scorer, you're a scorer. Like, that's what you do. He's never been known as the lockdown. Y'all just making that. Y'all just want to say anything to hate on that man. Like, I'm seriously convinced of that, because if you know he's about scoring and you keep trying to say, Melo doesn't play defense. He wasn't even known for that in college. So he was known as a bona fide scorer. So where are you coming from with that? And then you say, and then what gets me mad is that they say they praise people, like they be like, okay, well, DeAndre Jordan, or let's say Trevor Ariza, he's known for defense. He's known for defense, right? That's what he's known for. But you don't put the pressure on him to score, right? Because you know he's a defensive guy. So why are y'all doing that to Melo? Why are you saying that to Melo? And why you don't say that to none of the defensive players? You see what I'm saying? It's just all hate. They just be hating. They gotta say something. You know what I'm saying?
It's gotta be both sides. It can't be one or the other. And unfortunately, it is that, which sucks. You could be a great defender, but do nothing offensively, and you'll have a spot in the league. But on vice versa, again, it's all about just roles and situations. And like a guy like, shout out Matt, the Knicks fan, but like Alonzo Trier, he's an NBA talent, but he's just not an NBA because there's a narrative around him about ISO Zoe, and he can't play defense and shit like that. Anyway, great point about the Melo shit. We talk about that Melo defense thing all the time. For these first few games, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the offense, where it's like, bro, 28 points in his third game as a Laker is insane. 10 of 15 shooting. I haven't seen Melo that genuinely hot, in a minute. Like from three, every shot, like a three, swoosh, bottom of the net, no backboard, no rim, no nothing. Just every shot was hitting the bottom of the net. Was amazing to see. Obviously, he's not going to do that every fucking game, as much as we would like to believe that. But I have mixed feelings, because in one game, I think it was that Phoenix game, the second game, Melo takes 7 shots in the first half, and then in the second half, he gets 1 shot. And then the game against the Grizzlies, it's like, all right, well, you have to give him the fucking ball. And even 15 shots for someone who is shooting 75% from 3, you ride that shit until he's fucking cold. Like, especially Carmelo Anthony, you keep giving him the fucking ball. But again, I will give them props and respect for giving him the ball at that last play, because I was in shock. I was like, bro, that LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook are on the court for the Lakers, and they're giving the ball to Carmelo Anthony to ice the game. I was just like, no fucking way. Like in 2021, like,
I couldn't believe it.
That shit was wild. It was wild. So
bro, I couldn't believe that, son.
It was wild shit. Obviously, he missed it. If he made that shit, I would not have gotten off Twitter for a few hours after. And I kind of didn't. After Melo put up 28,
Staples would have went crazy.
So, yeah, man, that the start for Melo, better than advertised defensively, I think. And then offensively, like, looking at his numbers, again, 3 fucking games. So before everyone's like, yo, it's 3 games, like, we're acknowledging that. 51% from the field, 67% from 3. Not too bad. 4 of 6 on average, and that's taking six threes a game. So it's not like he's taking 2 threes where it's like, all right, like, yeah, you hit one of them and like that's it. Taking 6 threes a game and shooting 67%. I'll take that any day. You just mentioned Staples.
I would definitely take that, bro.
All right, last interruption, because if you're watching or listening to the podcast for this long, you probably fuck with us. And if you fuck with us, you'll probably fuck with all the perks that you get from being a Control the Narrative member, whether that's access to our invite-only Discord where we're talking basketball all the time, or opportunities to join the next episode of Control. So whenever we need a guest, I go in our Discord, I say, yo, who's free? who wants to hop on the next episode, and I pick from there. You get 20% off merch forever, and then you also get member-exclusive merch, all by being a member. Tiers start at $2 a month. So if you fuck with us, go check out a membership, CTRLthenarrative.com, and I will see you in the Discord. All right, back to the show for good. You just mentioned Staples would have went crazy had Melo hit that shot. He's been getting a shit ton of love from the LA fans, from the Lakers, in stadium, from the Lakers on social media, where they tweeted something and they said Carmelo Anthony and the Lakers are back tonight in action. Like, not LeBron and the Lakers, not AD and the Lakers, not Russ and the Lakers, Carmelo Anthony and the Lakers. Reminder, Carmelo Anthony is coming off the bench. So what do you think? Like, how does all this respect that Los Angeles, California is giving Melo make you feel as a Melo fan?
Man, it's amazing to see, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, when even the first game when he checked in, and every time he check in, like, they be screaming. Yep. I'd be like, damn, like, they not even doing that for like Westbrook or nothing, like, or to anybody else. I was like, damn. I'm like, yo, that's love. That's love. It's because when I think about it, I'm like, anytime I've been to a LA game, like in Staples Center when Melo came, he's, from what I can remember, him as a Knick, he's always put on a show. I don't remember one bad game he had in Staples Center. I can't remember. What I'm saying, from since the time he been on the Knicks. But I've been to about 3 games in Staples Centers when he played, 3 or 4, and he put on a show. You know what I mean? And even then, they were still cheering for him then. So I think he was always kind of associated with the Lakers. Somehow, whether it was in free agency, whatever the case may be. And I think, when people actually seen what happened to him when he got out the league, I think fans really started to appreciate him a little more. So now when they see him, like, and especially LA, they got diehard fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, that Lakers organization, like, they fan base is like, it's crazy. So, I would say I didn't expect it to be like that every time, because since in 3 games, I haven't heard Staples Centers that loud until Melo scores. Like, it don't get as loud, like, which is surprising. Like, when he's knocking down the 3, everybody's standing up, because I try to look for all the highlights and see, like, what different camera angles catches the crowd, because I like to see everybody reaction when Melo shoots. So sometimes I have it up on 3 screens and I'll be looking at everybody. I'm like, damn, everybody's standing up. They like this. Is like they know it's going in. I'm like, yo, that's love. Like, it literally gives you chills. Like, especially the last 3 that he made. The last 3 that he made on the last game. Everybody was standing up.
Well, he was wide open.
Like,
right?
They knew he was gonna make it. Yeah, when he was wide open.
Yeah.
He was wide open. Like, I'm like, damn, yo, that was love. So I'm loving the love. I can only imagine how it's gonna be in the playoffs, because it get crazy. It get crazy. But to piggyback of what you said about with Melo being hot or whatever, keep feeding him the ball. This is why not to keep this long, but this is why I love Golden State, because when somebody's hot, they make sure they get it to them, no matter who it is, whether it could be Draymond that's hot, Clay, Steph, they'll make sure they get it to him. And I feel like teams, they should do that. If your man is hot, get him the ball. Don't I don't understand. Let him rock until he gets cold. You know what I mean? That's what they've done for Clay. That's what they've done with Steph. And they even did it with Poole. Poole was going off and they kept feeding it to him. Yeah. You got a 3-time champion and Steph still passing the ball to a sophomore rookie, whichever, because he hot and he kept delivering. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like they should keep the same way. That's why Golden State is like, that's why I love the way how they run their team like that. And I feel like the Lakers should do that. If he hot, let him go. Or if LeBron hot, let him rock. You know what I'm saying? That just goes with anybody. You know what I mean? Except for Westbrook, because when he get hot, man, he just he'll just start doing some extra shit that just don't. It just piss me off. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's just crazy how, like, sometimes basketball can just be so simple. if one guy is in a rhythm, give him the ball, get him open. If he's not, like, let's run a play. If Malik Monk hits 2 in a row, let's go back to him. He misses one, but it's still a good-looking shot. All right, we'll go to him in a few. It's just like ebbs and flow of the game where it's like it's not even like Melo is somebody who isn't established. Like, this dude is – we could talk about his accolades, first ballot Hall of Fame, all this shit all fucking day. But this dude's an all-time great scorer, all-time great player. And when he's in the zone, just give him the ball. And then you see what happens when you do that, because he makes Staples Center go crazy. And, like, on that whole love, like how much love LA is showing Melo, I think it's cool to see it from another organization. Like the Blazers, they showed Melo mad love in terms of the fans. When he first got there, they were chanting his name. The fans, for the most part, were really great to him on social media and shit like that. There's a few dickheads, but for the most part, they were pretty cool to him. The media, for the most part, was fair. Like, Portland was a good experience, but if we're being like, we all know that LA is just on another level in every single category. So to see
definitely
the Lakers Twitter account, tweeting, "Yo, Melo and the Lakers," to see Laker fans in the arena like Jack Nicklaus and all these Jack Nicholson, and all these like fans rooting for Melo, it just hits different. And obviously we can go and talk about that whole story about how he's been at the league. He was out of the league for a year, and to see him come back, and we all kind of know that. But I think the angle I'm kind of looking at this is for this to be one of the, if not the most iconic basketball franchise doing all this stuff, and their fans just welcoming him with open arms when they've had guys like Shaq, Kobe, Wilt, Magic, we could go down the fucking line, for those guys to be like, "Yo, Melo, like, you're coming in the game, and like they start, that shit to me is like, that's pretty fire."
Amazing, bro. I love it. I really love that, bro. I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way, because they not even, if you look at it, but I ain't even know that. You just surprised me with that when they said Carmelo Anthony and the Lakers. Like, that's fire. Like, I ain't know that. Well, I'm happy. I'm that shit just made me happy. I ain't gonna lie.
I made sure,
that just made me happy. But that's what's up that they said that. Yeah.
As soon as I saw that shit, I hopped on the control Twitter, and I was just like, "Yo, you heard that? It's Melo and the Lakers, not LeBron, not it. Melo and the Lakers." I was like, "Let's fucking go!" But cool shit, man.
Yo, yeah, I gotta go see that. See that.
The tweet, for those who haven't seen or heard of it yet, by the time you watch or listen to this, they tweeted, "There's big time and then there's all time. At Carmelo Anthony and the Lakers are back in action tonight," and it's a little carousel of pictures of Melo. So it's fire shit. So shout out the Lakers, shout out Lakers fans.
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you,
we really, as
to them,
Melo and Knicks fans, we really haven't been that close with Lakers fans. And obviously, the Nuggets beat the Lakers in the playoffs a few times and shit like that. But they are they're making a great first impression, to say the least.
Yeah, man. I definitely appreciate LA right now. I would have went to the game, but I found out you gotta be, you know what I'm saying, you gotta have that jab to go in there. But because I asked, I told you, like, I was gonna ask my sister, you feel me, like, get me some tickets, but she was like, you gotta be vaccinated to go in there.
Same shit with MSG right now. Wow.
So I'm like, all right, so I gotta wait till they come to to Atlanta to watch them. Like, nah, I want to be in the Garden or the Staples Center, man.
Of course.
That's crazy.
Of course, bro. Yo, Kev, we reached the end of this podcast. Appreciate you hopping on, but before you jump off here, this is your first time on, right? You never been on before.
Facts.
First time.
Yeah, facts.
So at the end of every podcast, we allow our guests to control a narrative. It doesn't have to be Melo related, doesn't have to be basketball related, doesn't have to be sports related. But I'm going to give you the floor and let you control a narrative.
I'm going to do it in terms of, I would say me, but in terms of, just speaking in general for anybody, of course, the situation, what I be doing with the whole Airbnb and stuff, just coming from nothing, and just going for what I want. Stay on the grind, stay hustling and doing what I need to do. The legal way, the right way. I know, because
Yep.
you know what I mean. But yeah, so just in terms of the stigma that we only could play basketball, or we got to be a rapper, or whatever the case may be, to become successful, or to make $1 million, whatever the case may be. So I just want to say, make sure that you don't have to go those two routes. You could, whatever your dreams is, I will say, go after it 100%, no matter how hard it get. Control that narrative of your life, and not what the stigma is, or you have to do this to become successful.
Yep.
Just believe in yourself and control your own narrative in that way. Do it your way, on your time. Don't determine the time of your success by anybody else's, because you setting yourself up for failure. Create your own goals and create your own definition of what it means to be successful. So whether it's you just, if your dream car is to get a Benz, and that's all you want, you don't want to become a millionaire. You know what I mean? You're successful because
Yep.
that's what you deem successful to you. So I really feel like that's the way to control your own narrative. Go after what you want and what you believe in, no matter what.
I love that.
Definitely.
That's good shit, bro. On some Gary V type shit, what is one tactical suggestion, recommendation, piece of advice that you'd give somebody? Because people hear that yo, just go after what you want, and certain people all right, where the fuck do I start? So obviously you're in a situation where you could give just one piece of good advice, whether it's if you're looking to get into this, Google this, or YouTube everything, or if you're trying to learn, just however you want to take it, just one piece of advice to leave everybody who've listened for over 39 minutes now to take away.
Depending on whatever direction you're going into, whether it's entrepreneurship, I would say set short-term goals and try to understand one part of whatever you're doing first. Try to understand it and try to navigate through whatever whatever the situation is, so you could really understand it, so you can move on. Because I feel like some people get overwhelmed when they try to get into something, and it's just so much things each way that you have to learn, and it overwhelms you, and it's just you don't feel like doing it no more, or it just discourages you. I look at it as if, when you used to have a lot of work in school, you just be backed up, and then you don't know where to start, so you just take a nap. You see what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. So you just have to, break it down, say, okay, let me take care of this problem. List your problems out, whether it's what you have to learn or what you need to do, and just solve each one of them at a time. It doesn't have to be all solved, or you don't have to figure everything out at one time. And that was what was big for me, putting one thing aside and saying, okay, let me figure this out, let me do this, and then I'll move on to the next one. And then before you know it, everything will start coming into place, and you won't even realize it until you're like, okay, well, I know that, or this is how I know I have to do it this way, So, and don't be afraid to network, man. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to anybody, whether it's your mentor, but know the right questions to ask, because you could go up to somebody that's successful, that's in a business that you want to get into, and you don't know the right questions to ask, so they can't really help you because they don't know what you know. So I would say study your craft and really understand, so you'll have the right questions. I can't stress that enough. Know the right questions to ask, because that'll set you in a whole direction that you didn't even know that you were supposed to be going in. So figure out the right questions to ask.
And that starts with breaking shit down to one thing into another. So kind of ties it together. That's good shit. If anybody listened to this shit and they decide tomorrow to go start a business, or fuck it, I'm gonna go ask this person, they get an internship or whatever the case is, send Kev a little gift basket and thank him for that shit, because that's pretty good advice coming from someone like him. So Kev, bro, appreciate you hopping on here and talking to me, bro. Been long overdue. Should have had this done, but I feel like you'll be back pretty soon. And when you get back to New York, hit my line and we'll plan something and go catch a Knicks game or
definitely.
something. We'll figure it out.
Definitely. Yeah, you know, I'm here. So yeah, it was good being on the show. You know, I like what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Keep going. And you know,
Appreciate that,
shout
man.
out to the Control the Narrative family. Shout out to, you know, y'all. You know, for real. You know, we all Melo tape over here. We all need it.
Melo tape all day, baby. Appreciate you,
Yeah.
Kev. Have a great night, my guy.
All right, you too. All right,
Peace,
later.
bro.